Hey everyone, William here from 222 Productions, and I would like to talk to you about the Las Vegas National Finals Stage 1, Part 1 from American Ninja Warrior Season 9. Except, I'm doing something a little bit different this time around. Normally, I would claim to attempt to do things in 20 minutes or less. I think I was only successful like twice this year. Well, here's the thing. It's Vegas. It's the finals. These are the most important episodes of the season. I'm taking the limiters off. That's right, there's no time limit, but I can tell you that the review starts right now. So, Las Vegas, at the grammatically incorrect Mount Midoriyama course. 4 stages, 100 ninjas, give or take, depending on if alternates were available. Let's get things started. So, Stage 1. Ninjas had 2 minutes and 35 seconds to get through 8 obstacles. First obstacle was Snake Run. Now, it's a little different this time around. The placements are a little different. The end part where it had like the 3 steps at the end, that's gone. It's just 1 extra step in that area. It's another steps obstacle. I think, personally, I wouldn't mind if A&W tried a different type of first obstacle. Just anything besides steps, But it's fine. It's fine for what it is. It's just, it would be nice if it moved on. So, the next obstacle. I'd like to tell you a little story. About 20 minutes after I recorded my Denver Finals episode last week, I went out to get some gas for my car, because I needed gas. And as I was driving there, I had an epiphany, where all of a sudden I just go, oh, man, that means the propeller bar is back. Because I was thinking about crashing the course. I said there was 3 new obstacles, and that meant the propeller bar was still there. Why do they keep the propeller bar? Why do they keep the propeller bar? It is the worst obstacle A&W has ever put in Stage 1. Why do they insist on keeping this obstacle? There's no point to it. It's a high jump. That's all it is. It's just jumping on a trampoline to see if you can reach a certain height that is determined by how high the actual propeller of the propeller bar is. We already have 2 other obstacles on Stage 1 that use a trampoline. And there's a different obstacle on the course that uses a rope swing. There's nothing original or necessary about the propeller bar. I don't know why they keep it. It's such a redundant and, quite frankly, boring obstacle. Yeah. Not many people failed it this time around, and I think honestly, I have a suspicion they might have lowered the propeller bar. I don't know, something felt different, because it seemed like people were doing easier. But yeah, not a fan. I wish they would just replace it already. Alright, next up, obstacle 3 is the Double Dipper. Now, this obstacle just might be one of the best Vegas obstacles A&W has ever created. Period. It looks so much fun. Basically, they took the Big Dipper, but they made it big. So, you grab on, you slide down a track, and then you have to jump and grab a second dipper track and slide down that part and then jump to the landing pad. It looks so much fun. It also looks like a extremely nerve-wracking obstacle, but holy cow. Like, I love that obstacle. I love fast-paced obstacles. That's great. Then it's the Jumping Spider, because A&W insists on continuing to use the Jumping Spider no matter what. It's fine. It's whatever. And then is the Parkour Run. And my god, this obstacle was dumb. Dumb, Dumb. First off, Parkour Road's a terrible name. Like, can you be any more transparent of what crowd you're trying to appease here? You know, it's no, you know, everyone's aware that you've been getting more and more upper body focused A&W. Like, you literally named an obstacle Parkour Run to appease the lower body fans. Like, get out of here. And it's not even that great because, like, the steps, they're not the same size, they're not the same shape, but they look remarkably similar to the steps from Snake Run. So that's one part that's redundant. And then you jump into a rope, and it's got so it's 3 oval steps, and then there's one on the other. So if you're doing the obstacle, there's 3 steps on your left side, then there's one on your right, and then there's a square step back on your left side. And everyone's just kind of doing it slow. They got to, you know, they're generally taking their time. They're cat grabbing. I don't recall anyone actually failing it. And then from that last step, you got to jump and grab a rope that swings in a circle. It's got some. It's got the metal spin rigging on it. And you got to land on the platform. We'll talk about that obstacle a little bit when we get to a certain someone's run, but I think A&W intended people to do the obstacle fast, but no one did the obstacle fast. Pretty much everyone just kind of, what's it called? Cat grabbed through, like, you know, most of the steps because they didn't want to fall. And honestly, with the time limit being on the upper side, a bit on the high side, there was no reason to do the obstacle fast, quite frankly. Then was the warped wall, which is fine. You know, it's a staple. You got to have it there. Then was domino pipes. Domino pipes is an interesting obstacle. Oh, you know what? I just want to say one other thing about the parkour run before I continue. This is going to kind of go into my thoughts with the domino pipes as well. Before I saw stage 1 in action, I was a little bit disappointed in the fact that A&W insists on using the same frame for stage 1. And has been using it for quite some time. So, first obstacle has always been steps. Whether it's Snake Run, the Piston Road, or the Timbers, or whatever else they've used, it's always been steps. Second obstacle, ever since A&W 5, it's always been trampoline to a rotating object. So whether it's that old vertical wheel one or the propeller bar, that's what that spot has always been. Spot number 3 has always been grab onto an obstacle and ride it down a track. Now the double dipper is a big change from stuff like the silk slider, the rope glider, and the giant log grip. So that's changed for the better, but it's a similar concept. Spot 4 has always been the jumping spider. Then spot 5, parkour run, has always filled that run on an object and grab a rope obstacle. It's always been that. But the thing is, parkour run is like a really lame version of the Sonic Curve, and the Sonic Curve is an easy version of the half pipe attack. The obstacle was actually better when it was the half pipe attack, even though the original build of the half pipe attack was kind of But getting back to the domino pipes, the obstacle after the warp wall has always been a type of run across and balance obstacle, whether it's the broken bridge, which was pretty lame last year, or the coin flip, or the spin bridge. It's always been a similar objective, and I don't know how different these obstacles actually are. I don't know. I haven't competed on them, but it's the same concept. As for the domino pipes, there is a bit of worry in the safety factor, because the pipes, because they're these pipe structures that will fall over like dominoes. They have like I do like the intuitiveness with the counterweight system to make sure they stay up originally, but like some of the pipes like actually smack into each other when they rotate like this. And there's a bit of a fear in my mind that what happens if a person just so happens to be in between those two pipes? Obstacle, it's fine. It's a balance obstacle. It's fine. And then it's the flying squirrel cargo net combo. I'm when it comes to Sasuke courses or Ninja Warrior courses, whatever I call them, I've always been of the opinion that there shouldn't be a lot of stuff in between the warped wall and the finish. So my whole mindset is that the warped wall is supposed to be a stopgap obstacle. It's an unfailable obstacle, and it's one of those things where it just takes up a lot of time. If you take up too much time, it doesn't matter, how you do if there's no time left to do the remaining obstacles. And so there's this whole mindset, in my personal opinion, that there's really, it should only be like the flying squirrel, and you could put the domino pipes in a different location in this case. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the flying squirrel. It's okay as an obstacle. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't hate it. I just think, like, A&W loves Lachey so much on this show. It's just another Lachey obstacle, and I wouldn't mind if they use something besides a cargo net as the final climb. I've said in the past I wouldn't mind if they used the lumberjack climb, which is it's a different obstacle. It's a different type of beast. It's a failable obstacle. We've seen people fail it on Sasuke. It'd just be nice. It'd be nice for something different. That's really what I'm saying. I like to change it up a little bit more. I do question if 2 minutes and 35 seconds was too much time. But I have a feeling the reason they did that was because they wanted more clears, since last year sent the record for least amount of Stage 1 clears. I imagine, they probably want a higher percentage of Stage 1 clears, so they certainly got that. We're not even halfway done, and we already have 20 clears. We're halfway done. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And, ooh, wait, look at that clock. So let's just run through some runs. I got stuff to talk about. I got a lot of stuff to kind of rant about. So I don't know if I'm really gonna get through everything, but here we go. So it started with Gabe Hurtado. I thought Gabe was a good pick because he's not. I don't want to sound mean to Gabe. He's not like an A-lister. He's not someone that A&W presents as an A-lister. I thought he was a good first pick. Where did he fall? Oh, I actually did not write that. He fell on the Double Dipper. Yeah. Quickly mark that. Yeah, and I think that was actually a good run to start with if you're going to edit things and not show things in order, because it shows the danger of the Double Dipper. Show Carson Williams next, unfortunately, and this was his fourth time in Stage 1, but unfortunately he still failed. Stage 1, he's yet to ever clear. He failed the second to last pipe of the domino pipes. That's a shame. Then they showed they promoted Casey's final run. They went back to 2014, where she had her best year ever, and they said that we get to see her final run next week. And they said that she's going to start her career in WWE. Now maybe it was just me, but last week during the Denver Finals episode, I was under the impression they were going to show Casey's run this week in the first half of Stage 1. So this announcement surprised me, especially because, I had a lot I wanted to say. I guess now I got to save another week. So, yeah, I got a lot to say about Casey. And it'll be my last chance. Maggie Thorne. So, one of the issues that Vegas has, I think Maggie's fluff piece kind of showed this, is that, so for her profile piece, they basically just talked about her being divorced again. This is the third time we've seen this story. They've told us this story 3 different ways. It's the same story. And it is kind of an issue with A&W in general, is that I feel like they produce Vegas under the assumption that that there are people who haven't watched the regionals, but as a result, you get like redundant stories. Again, nothing against Maggie, but it's like I pay attention to the show. I watch all the episodes. I'm aware of the story now. You don't gotta tell me. And I like to think it's because of my theory. I don't want to think that A&W is assuming we're idiots. But okay. So it was at this point we found out that the Double Dipper had an 8-foot gap in between the first and second bar, and I hope Maggie can forgive me for saying this, but she ended up failing the Double Dipper, and I haven't laughed that hard watching A&W in quite some time. The way she wiped out was so funny. It was a good wipeout. It really got me. I do have to give Maggie some props because she was being interviewed by Christine, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, why are you so sad? You should be happy with how well you did." And Maggie, rightfully so, was like, "I wanted to go all the way," which is the right mindset to have. Enough of this whole participation mindset that people have. It's like she wanted to win. It's not, she didn't want to just be like, "Oh, I'm just happy to be here." No, I wanted to clear. She wanted to clear the course, which is what you should do. It's like if you don't come to American Ninja Warrior expecting to win, what are you doing here? Quite frankly. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that Maggie had that mindset. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. And then they showed Christa Ganji, a.k.a. Jesse Labrecque's boyfriend, which is how they present him. He's clearly the number 2 in that relationship, as far as A&W is concerned. Congrats to him, though. This is the first time he's made it to stage 1 since A&W 4, so I'm sure he's happy about that. He had a good save on the jumping spider. I thought he was going to slip there, but he didn't, because... yeah. And then he had another good save on the domino pipes. I don't know how he did this, but basically, so he's on the last pipe, he slips, so the pipe's upside down, so he's hanging on the pipe, and he somehow is able to pull himself up to the landing platform. It took forever. I think it took like a good 30 seconds. And then he had 30 seconds left still, which, again, might bring some credence to the criticism that the time limit was a bit too long. He ended up going out on the flying squirrel just because he was just too exhausted, I imagine, from trying to get up on the domino pipes and trying to muscle his way up. He failed the transfer from the first to second flying squirrel, but yeah, good effort on that part. And it wasn't until this point we started getting fast forward, so just some quick ones. Jesse Lucero failed the propeller bar. Matt Holt failed the jumping spider. Brian Wilczewski, okay, oh boy. Gotta talk about this one. So, they brought back the time that he failed the first obstacle of stage 1. Whichever one had the timbers. Is that... let's see, this is 9, 8, 7... It's either 6 or 5. I gotta go back and look. And as soon as they brought this up, my immediate thought was, oh god, can you telegraph it any harder that he's gonna do it again? And guess what happened? Yeah, he immediately failed Snake Run. He tried to skip the first step, ended up being a bad move. That really sucks. Then hey, Nick Hanson from Alaska, and okay. I don't. So they brought up the fact that his mom is a recovering alcoholic. I don't get why they do this. It's not even about him. Like, it's not even like it's not like he is a recovering alcoholic, as far as I'm aware. Like, it's about his mom. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like, if my mom was a recovering alcoholic, which she's not, but I would never want that story out on TV as if I was on A&W. I don't get it. I don't want to see those types of stories, even if it's one that's more, she's doing better, which is great, but I don't think it's appropriate for an obstacle course game show, because that's what this is. Anyway, so I do say congratulations to Nick. He managed to clear the course. For the first time. So congrats to him. He ended up being our first finisher of the episode. I wouldn't say of the night because, how they edit things. I believe he had, 5 seconds left. I'm trying to remember if he had any sort of moment that, like, I think it was just the pace, He just had a good enough pace, but yeah, good for him. What we got here? Judas Lucario. Is he the one? Yes. Okay. He's the backflip guy. All right. Okay. Being a show-off on the course only works if you can back it up. They showed him doing a backflip off of the I-beam gap in Cleveland, which I didn't actually see in any of the actual episodes, so it's weird that got cut. But they showed he did on the double dipper. When dismounting an obstacle, he did a backflip in the middle at the end. And then he immediately fails the jumping spider. And my immediate thought was, that's what you get. That's what you get for trying to show off. You end up failing. I wouldn't be surprised if he got himself a little bit disoriented and it hurt his ability to do the jumping spider. But, don't show off, kids. You want to do a backflip? Do it at the beginning of the course before you start. Do it at the end of the course when you win. Don't do it in the middle of your run. Unless you can back it up. But if you can't back it up, you just look like a fool. So don't do it. Then, Berkeley Stockett. What was this? So, I'm a Berkeley fan. When I first... I guess became aware of her at National Ninja League Season 2. I looked at her and I'm like, this girl looks very strong. I don't know anything about her because this was before she made TV in any form. I would like to see her do well. And she did fairly well. I think I'm just trying to look at think for a second. What was her problem? I can't figure out if it was a case of she needs better time management on the course, or if it was just a cardio thing. I went and rewatched her run, and I came to the conclusion that it was probably more cardio, because when she made it to the warped wall, she seemed really like out of breath and tired. Because she had less than a minute left when she got to the warped wall, so I think it was more of she could not go faster rather than she underestimated the clock. She ended up clearing the warped wall after, I know at least she failed at least one time. I don't remember if she failed a second time. She made it to the flying squirrel with 1 second left, so she couldn't actually attempt the obstacle, but I guess technically she's counted as a flying squirrel fail. So yeah, good run. A good first year. I expect big things from Berkeley in the future. I honestly do. And then Anthony DeFranco got fast forwarded. He failed the jumping spider. Yancy Quezero failed the double dipper, and Capo Gansy. Wow, I can't read that at all. I apologize. Also failed the big dipper, the double dipper. Then more fast forwards. Lucas Gomez failed the parallel bar. Lindsay Exkerson failed the double dipper. Michael Torres, one of my A&W fantasy picks. He slipped in the middle of the jumping spider. He made the landing, and in the middle of the whole spider walk section, he fell. The section that people don't fall as often on. What happened, man? You cost me good points. I expected big things from you. There's like, I'm pretty sure unless Jamie Ron ends up winning the entire show, I have no shot at beating Rich and Bijan at this point. So, oh boy. And then I think that also requires like some of Rich's and Bijan's picks to like not go any further than they have. So, oh boy. Then hey, Travis Rosen finally got a run. They mentioned the fact that he failed the first obstacle last year. It had a different connotation from Brian Wilczewski's. It didn't have that whole foreboding he's going to fail thing. Travis just looks good. He still got it. That's the best thing I can say. He still got it. He made a great save on the domino pipes. It wasn't as drastic as Chris's. It was more like he fell on the landing platform, like the whole thing where you're hanging on the edge. Basically, landed on the edge, pulled himself up, no problem. Did the rest of the course. Still had 28 seconds left because he's Travis Rosen and he's awesome. So I'm glad to see him. Glad to see him back at Stage 2. He is officially the oldest person to clear Stage 1 in AEW. I don't know if he's the oldest person in all of Ninja Warrior stuff, partially because A, I don't remember how old Bunpei was when he cleared Stage 1 Sasuke, and 2, I haven't been keeping up with every version of Ninja Warrior, so who knows if an older person cleared Stage 1 in one of those other versions. So more fast forward. Jelani Allen failed the Big Dipper. Luke Chambers failed the Double Dipper. Keep calling it Big Dipper. Luke Chambers failed the Double Dipper. Michael Johnson failed the Double Dipper. Then they had this dude, Mike Tariqa, or whoever, I don't know, some guy. He wasn't very good. he was such a non-factor during this next run. He's hosting the NFL stuff on NBC. He's going to be hosting the Olympics. Good for him, but he didn't do much for me during this next segment. Because he co-commentated Josh Levin's run. Josh Levin. So first off, his profile was actually about both him and Charlie Andrews. Charlie Andrews, remember, he was from MIT, part of Teen Ninja Warrior College Madness. I was big on Charlie Andrews. I was a big fan of him, and unfortunately, he was unable to run in Vegas because during training, he slipped trying to do some balance obstacles and cracked his skull. He suffered a fractured skull, and that was heartbreaking to hear. I'm glad he's doing better. I'm glad Charlie's doing better. He was in the crowd. He was cheering for Josh. I'm glad. Oh my God. That one got me. And that's one of the whole things about like the more serious, NBC wants to be all serious and have moving profiles. It works better when it's actually related to Ninja Warrior, quite frankly. That one related to Ninja Warrior, it works better. But yeah, so like the whole story was that Josh was doing it for both of them. An interesting side note, one thing that I kind of noticed is that for some, this profile piece actually kind of broke A&W's story a little bit. Broke kayfabe. I didn't want to use the wrestling term, but because basically A&W likes to pretend that like all these episodes are happening in real time on a week, and that every episode is filmed a week apart from each other, even though it makes no sense at all. They kind of broke that illusion because during his profile, I'm pretty sure they mentioned that this whole ordeal with Charlie and getting injured and being in the hospital took months. And it's only been 6 weeks since the LA Finals episode. And so months is longer than 6 weeks, because it's 2 months is at least 8 weeks. So it kind of broke the illusion there. They kind of admitted discreetly that timelines aren't what they appear on A&W. As for Josh Levin, really the only thing to say is that he had a darn good run. He had 14 seconds left. It was well paced. I think he was fully aware of what the time was left. I think Josh Levin, I do think is someone who can do well. Talked to him very, very briefly in NNL Season 2 Finals. In fact, he probably doesn't even remember talking to me, because that's how brief it was. But I have video proof, so we can't deny it. Yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I think he's going to do well. I think he can make it to Stage 3. Anyway, Kevin Carbone. Recap of his story with the whole Wingnuts. Unfortunately, he got a bad jump on the jumping spider, and he fell. He fell. Which is a shame because I know for a fact the Wingnuts are in stage 2. Just to give you a little preview there. So it would have been interesting to do the whole, can the Maker defeat his own obstacle for a 3rd time? But no, we don't get to see it. So next up was Jessie Labrecque. I'm going to be completely honest here. Before this episode started, I kind of, you know what? It was mainly because of how few people cleared last year. But I didn't think any woman besides Jessie Raff was going to clear. And when I saw what time Jessie Labrecque did the course, they had her run and go, I kind of thought, well, I don't know. I feel like if she cleared, they would have put her on later in the episode. That's not me overthinking. That's just a natural thought I had. Her profile was funny. It's a little sad though, because it's about how people confuse her with Jessie Graff. It's a bit more humorous than most A&W stuff, so I appreciate it. It's got some nice humor to it. I do find it funny that Chris's I think grandmother, when he told her that he was dating Jessie, she thought it was Jessie Graff, and then when she found out it was Jessie Labrecque, it was like, oh, which is, that's not fair. Jessie Labrecque is good. Anyway, so basically, her run can be, can be summed up by the parkour run. She got stuck on the rope. Chris got stuck on the rope too. That was one of the whole things about his run. Basically they both ended up getting stuck in the same pot. They hit the rope. They missed the platform. In Jessie's case, it's because her back got turned around. She got turned around. Her back was facing the platform and missed. And she just got hung up for like a good amount of time. She made it up the warped wall, and honestly, I thought she wasn't going to make it. But then she did the dominoes really quickly. I looked at the clock, and I got to say, at that point in time, I got really excited. I thought she was going to do it. I thought this was it. Because I saw how much time she had left. She had 35 seconds left, something around there. And at that point, I actually went a little bit crazy. I started going, go, stop resting. You don't have time to rest. Just go. She made the first jump, she made the second jump, and then she's going to the cargo net. I thought, I'm just go, get a good jump, you can still do it. There's 15 seconds left still. She goes for the net, she misses the net, and she falls. Honestly, I think she just got too gassed out from the parkour run, getting stuck on the rope. Oh, man. It was an exciting run. It was an exciting run. And I think that's kind of one of the things I just want to bring up. I don't know if it was completely clear here, but I actually like this episode. I was worried. Because I was disappointed about Stage 1 last year, and there were aspects about this episode that I was disappointed about, but I think overall it was a more enjoyable show to watch, mainly because we didn't have a situation where everyone was failing the giant log grip. It was a fun episode to watch. I think part of it's because there was a time limit. People are moving. You don't have these slower obstacles. And one of the things I was just kind of thinking of watching this episode, I'm just like, man, this is a lot of fun to watch. Imagine if all the episodes of A&W was like this. I wish all the episodes were like Stage 1. I wish they would do something about it. Make the regionals faster pace. It's absurd. So it's absurd because Stage 1 in A&W terms is technically the third stage. Like A&W is technically a 6-stage obstacle course. The fact that the third stage is shorter and, based on the results, easier than the first stage, or in some cases the first 2 stages, is crazy when you think about it. It's so crazy, and I wish just speed up the regionals. That's all I'm asking. Speed up the regionals, make them a bit more like Vegas, make them more fun. This was fun. I think that's the point I want to try to make across. This was fun to watch overall. I wish they would fix that up. So, Spencer Johnson got hung up on the net, but he failed. Timeout. The flying squirrel. Ian Dory clear. Thomas Stillings cleared. They're fast forwarding clears because there were so many. Some got cut. Some just got straight up cut. And so now we have J.J. Woods. So we just got to talk about that. So I do like the fact that they failed the Big Dipper this year, and then he saw the Double Dipper and he was like, oh God, I got post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh no. But I don't think he actually did that. But okay, so JJ's run is basically it's the parkour run. So he gets on the 4th step, and instead of going to the 5th step to grab the rope, he jumps on the step, top of the 4th step, and he jumps to the landing platform. He completely skips the rope, and that just came across as a whole, as one of those whole, well, we didn't tell him he couldn't do that, so we can't disqualify him type of situations. And here's the thing. Disqualifying him would actually be really messed up. It's actually a good thing to disqualify him, because when you think about it, the whole definition of parkour is going from point A to point B without any additional equipment in the fastest way possible. So, in theory, he was still doing the obstacle properly because he was doing parkour. So yeah, it's just so bizarre. I just remember like my initial reaction was, oh man, JJ Woods learned a new move. It's called cheating. It's not actually cheating though. I guess technically he learned loophole. Legal loophole. Yeah, actually, it's kind of crazy because, like, JJ Woods, he took a little shortcut on Snake Run, skipping some steps. He took a shortcut here on Parkour Run. I don't know how much time he actually saved because he cleared the course. Congratulations. But didn't clear with that much time? 16 seconds? I don't know. I guess with those moves, you kind of expected he would have cleared with more time, but I guess kind of he did kind of catch his breath after the warped wall, so maybe that was a big portion of it. More fast forward. Sean Darlin Hammond cleared. Drew Knapp cleared. Hey, good for him with his brother and all. Mike Bernardo, yay! He also cleared. He had a big dive roll on the domino pipes. He actually skipped the last domino completely, just like dove over it. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it looked cool. Hey, congratulations. And Kevin Bull, clear. Dan Yeager, recap of his story again. And he ended up failing the double dipper. He didn't get the height. I think I don't know. He didn't get a good push off on the first rail, or something happened. He just missed the second bar completely. So next up was Alyssa Beer, and basically they talked about how she already got one buzzer, and now she wants more buzzers, which is a good mentality to have. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't think she was going to clear. In hindsight, I should have rethought my prediction, because on one hand, I literally witnessed her win the National Ninja League Season 2 Finals. I should have put more trust in her ability. But yeah, she ended up clearing. Hey, only the second woman to do so. There's not much to say about her run, honestly, other than that it was just a good, solid run. It was a good, solid run. So yeah, good for her. Good for her. She was really excited about the fact that she cleared, which is good. You should always be excited when you clear courses. So Ben Baker finally got some airtime. Unfortunately, he failed. He failed at the end. I failed on the flying squirrel. That's rough. Both Flip Rodriguez and Brett Severson cleared. Still got fast forwarded. So next up was Joe Morosky. So his whole thing was that he goes fast. And he went fast in USA versus the World a couple years ago. And he went fast. And he had a minute 40 left at the warped wall when he reached the warped wall. And he cleared 42 seconds left. And then he jumped in the water. And that's... went fast. Lauren Ball. This was kind of weird. Because they talked about how fast he was. And they're like, ooh, let's see if he can beat Joe's time. But then, like... he spent a lot of time on the top of the Double Dipper trying to figure out how to actually grab the obstacle. And at that point, I'm like, well, I mean, what's the point of, like, what was the point of that? Like, what's the point of, like, putting the timer away? It's obvious he's going at a slower pace. And then he fails the Double Dipper, unfortunately. And they can't even claim that, like, oh, speed kills, because it's not because he rushed the obstacle. He took a lot of time on it. It was kind of weird that they did the whole fake out, try to see if he can beat his time sort of thing. That was weird. But last run was Lance Pekus. Okay. I wrote... I'm just going to write in my notes, because I'm going to end up posting this on Twitter anyway, so I might as well just fess up. I wrote, why are you doing this, A&W? Okay. Now here's the thing. I'm sure Lance is a nice guy. And I can't imagine what he's going through. Basically, his profile was talking about how his wife, similar to Michael Stenger's wife, I believe I got that name right. She has multiple sclerosis. Basically, her body is weakening, and it really sucks. I can't imagine what he's going through. The way that they were promoting this throughout the episode, because they kept saying, like, Lance Pekus is finally going to share a family secret with us, going to bring it to light. And, like, whenever they do stuff like that, my immediate reaction was like, oh, what? They made it sound like he's, like, coming out of the closet or something, which I know he's not doing because he's married to a woman. But whenever they do the whole old person's revealing a secret sort of thing, that's always what they make it sound like. And it's just one of those, and then they revealed, oh God, that profile was so uncomfortable and just felt so sleazy. I'm just going to call it as it is. It was sleazy on AMW/NBC's part to do that profile piece. Because, like, they show her crying. I'm pretty sure at one point Lance did the, talking and it gets choked up. And I'm not saying, like, oh, he's acting. I'm just saying, like, that's what happened. And, of course, A&W put it in. And it's just like, why? Why? Why are you doing this? Like, it's one thing to just say she has multiple sclerosis. It's another thing to make a profile piece, a whole mini documentary, so to speak, where they're just twisting the knife, making you feel really bad. And it's like, I feel bad for his family, but not because of the reasons you want me to feel bad. I feel bad because there's some executive chucklehead who is profiting from this family's misfortune. That's why I feel bad for them. I don't feel bad, I don't want to be like, this doesn't make me want Lance to clear the course more. I already want him to clear the course. It's just, I think what really bothered me is that he was the last run of this episode, and I was having such a good time. Yeah, I had some umbrage with the Nick Hanson profile, but that was early on in the episode, and it didn't, it wasn't the worst thing they've ever done. This is on the higher level of sleaze, and it's just, man, it was such a bittersweet note to end on, quite frankly, because Lance ended up clearing with 45 seconds left, the fastest time so far. And I say so far because I got a sneaking suspicion that they're saving the fastest run of the night for the end of episode 2. But at the same time, you just have this this weird connotation, and it's just like, guys, like, what do you want A&W to be? I'm talking to producers. What do you want A&W to be? Do you want it to be a reality show? Do you want it to be a game show? Do you want it to be a sport? What do you want it to be? You're trying to play every side. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You claim that A&W is a sport, and yet you do crap like this. You do this reality show bull crap, and it's just, no, you don't need it. You don't need this manufactured drama. You're just profiting off of stuff that happens outside of American Ninja Warrior. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like this stuff. I don't like it. I don't care. I want to see people run a course. If you have an interesting story to tell me in a way that doesn't feel gross. This was gross. Ugh. I don't know. I've talked about this so many times. It almost never works because it almost every time it has nothing to do with A&W. And I talked about in the past about the one woman from Cleveland, about her son who was a Ninja Warrior fan. That got to me. That worked on me because it related to the show and everything about it. This felt separate, and it's like, I get that, like, if you want to talk about the multiple sclerosis thing, you could do it in a way that's not what you did. You can do it in a different way. You can just mention it. You don't have to drive in the emphasis. I cannot let this go. I hated that segment. I hated watching it. I hated how it made me feel. It didn't make me excited to watch an obstacle course game show. Okay? I want to see people run an obstacle course without feeling like I'm going to be sick to my stomach because of other people's misfortune. I feel like I would have liked Lance's run better if I didn't have that in my mind. Present it better. Just you don't have to overdo it. I don't even know. I'm just blabbering at this point. I'm just enough of this garbage. Anyway, congratulations, Lance. You did great. I wish him, honestly, I wish him and my wife the best. I can't imagine what you're going through. I don't, like, if Lance, if this was, Lance and his wife's decision to tell a story this way, that's fine. If they felt any pressure from NBC to tell their story, then shame on NBC. I personally, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want people to know that. But that's just my opinion. Maybe it's just because I tend to be a bit more on the private side. But I don't know. Anyway, I realize this review is ending on a bit of a weird note, but I just want to make things clear. I still liked the episode overall. It only had a few moments I didn't care for. Overall, it was a very enjoyable episode, and I wish would be more of a blueprint for how the rest of the season goes. I shouldn't have to wait till episode 13 to get, like, the fast-paced, exciting episodes. Just make the regionals faster. And maybe have profile pieces that, don't... I don't know. That don't, that don't try... Okay, I guess I'll end on this. I'm trying to think of a tactful way to say this. Less profile pieces that feel like they're designed on pressing the depression button on the viewer. I don't like the profile pieces that feel like they're trying to make the viewer depressed. Because that, I don't feel because mainly because it just clashes with I think the rest of the show goes for. But that's just me. That's just me. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And let's just quickly, even though we're only halfway done with stage 1, I'm just going to quickly run off the 20 people who have cleared stage 1 thus far. Lance Pekus, Joe Moravsky, Brent Stevison, Thomas Stallings, Flip Rodriguez, Travis Rosen, Kevin Bowl, Mike Bernardo, Eric Middleton, Cass Clausen, Michael Salinzi, Nick Kostreski, JJ Woods, Josh Levin, Drew Knapp, Alyssa Beer, Ian Dory, Andrew Lowe's, Sean Darling Hammond, and Nick Hanson. So do up. We are done. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Vegas Stage 1, Part 1. Let me know what you think. Did I ramble too much about profile pieces that I don't like? Did you like the course? How do you feel about the new obstacles? I liked Big Dipper. Didn't care for Parkour Run and Domino Pipes or Pipe Dominoes, whatever they're called. Kind of about. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think? And anything else I want to say? Yeah, okay, just one other thing. Crash the course, that whole vote on which obstacle you want to see Alex run, that's a load of crock, quite frankly. He ran both obstacles. You're just voting on which video you get to watch. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you next week for Part 2 of Vegas Stage 1. So until next time, goodbye.